Hey self-helper, I'm out here. It's really nice outside. Great weather tonight. And I thought I'd shoot today's video outside. And while I was out here, I thought I'd share with you the importance of having a role for yourself and how important it is to transition from one role to another whenever you are going about something. So what is the importance of this? Why should you transition from one role to another? It's important to consider that we as people do not always perform in the ideal role that we want for ourselves. There is always going to be a disparity because we cannot be perfect at any given point of time. We can be really good, we can be really consistent, but never perfect with how we play certain roles. And that's important for you to consider. Think about it, because can you give your 100%, your best effort every single day, every single time? Think about that. In reality, we can perform really well, really consistently, so long as we maintain a certain standard within the role that we choose to play. So what is this role? When you think about it, this role is really significant because you start off here at this point where you are kind of good. You're a novice, you're an amateur. That's the role that you're playing when you start off your career, when you start off your skill building for the very first time. Let's say you're playing an instrument for the first time, a piano. You're very likely to suck. That's a plain truth. But as you keep playing again and again, you get a little bit better, a little bit stronger. And suddenly you start to see yourself shift out of this role. And what is this role? The role that I am not so good at this. And now suddenly I see myself more as this person who has developed a certain level of playing, a certain standard for the skill. Now it's very easy for me to stop seeing myself as this, a novice, and more as an intermediate player. I can play a few songs now. I can actually hit some nice tunes on the guitar or the piano or the drums, whatever it may be. We end up getting into a position where we can play a lot better. We can start to see our skill build. And as the skill builds up, we start to get into the role of being an intermediate, someone who is pretty good. As an intermediate player, you go about transitioning from this role once again by practicing more, by building your skill, improving your knowledge. You get a little bit better. You shift out of this role of being an intermediate. And at the same time, you're slowly moving it into the next role, the role of being an accomplished player. See how the transition happens with regard to the role in itself. Because the role is whom we attach ourselves to. When we assign ourselves a role or other people assign us a role, we start to see ourselves only as that. We start to see ourselves only as what we are told we are. And if we are told that we are to play that certain role, let's say I have been told my entire life that I am not a very good musician. I will never be good. I will never gain the skills that I need to in order to play really well. I will never gain the expertise that I need to in order to get to that standard of performance. Pretty sure that if I hear that long enough, either from others or if I tell myself that my self-defeating beliefs allow me to start believing in this fact that I will never get good at this skill, That's what happens. And this applies to different areas of our lives. We begin labeling ourselves, or we see our role as being someone who is not a good performer, someone who has poor skills, is not comfortable, etc., etc. You can look at this as something: you're not able to perform in a certain subject, you're not able to really love unconditionally, you're not able to give all that you have, you are not able to perform to the best of your ability. These are some of the consequences of being stuck within a certain role. Whether someone else has told you that you need to play this role your entire life, or you want to be someone completely different, it's all about shifting out of the role that you do not see yourself as. That's the key. And once you move into this stage from an intermediate to an accomplished player in any field, business, sports, school, just plain old simple life performance, what happens is everything shifts. You want to become a high performer? Play the role of a high performer. You want to become a great musician? Play the role of a great musician. You want to become an accomplished sportsman? Become like an accomplished sportsman by playing that role. It's kind of like what a playwright decides to make of his characters in his play. He can either choose to have someone be the hero of the story, or he can make that person the villain. You are your own playwright. What is the role that you want to see yourself perform in? Because the story is up to you. How do you choose to write it? How do you choose to make yourself the hero or the heroine of your story and go about accomplishing great things that will add value to your life as well as the people around you? How will you go about doing this? Create the role for yourself that allows you to function in this fashion, where you can become the person whom you want to be, step by step, slowly walking out of the old role that you previously had or that you participated in, and into a new, better, more suitable role that is going to benefit you in the long run. That's the kind of role you want to kind of transition to. Transition into this new role for yourself. Become the change by changing the role. Ultimately, you find yourself in a much better place psychologically, because along with adopting the role, you also end up adopting the principles, the skills, the mental fortitude, the inner strength that is accompanied with that role. You want to become someone who is more confident? Play the role of a confident person. It's that simple. Where do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? And what do you see becoming of yourself? What is the reason behind you wanting to transition from the role you're in and transition into a better role? You want to quit a bad habit? You want to develop a skill? You want to start thinking differently about your life? You want to start over? What is the role you see yourself in? And what makes you deserving of that role? Not everyone deserves to play the role of someone who is successful, someone who achieves consistently, and someone who gets shit done. It's a very select few people who get to experience that. So are you ready to play that role? Let me know down in the comment section below. Spectacular weather to shoot another video like this for you, and at the same time, it's important to think about chilling out sometimes getting out of the work mode role now and again and just enjoying what's around you. That's really important too. Enjoy a number of roles that you get to play at any given point of time. Wear that hat and play that role. That's what I want you to think about. That's what I would like you to ponder upon. Does that make sense? Let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, if this is your first time here, subscribe, hit bell notifications. This is Vikram signing off, and I will see you in the next session.